Good morning. Another thought for my day. Yesterday was a good outcome for six missing Filipino tourists here. In the Philippines, they went for a bushwalk. They chose not to seek the assistance of a qualified guide. Why they did that, I don't know, but they chose not to, and we all can have our different opinions to that. Fortunately, the first two walked out after being discovered by local search and rescue and volunteers, and one puts one's hand up to congratulate them for all their effort. I'm sure they weren't planning on spending many days looking for tourists who were stupid enough to go for a walk in the bush and not take some major and simple precautions. I don't believe there were any Americans there, which is rather surprising given the number of Americans here who also avoid doing things maybe the right way. But there were a group of Russian, English, German, I'm not sure exactly all of the nationalities, but they nevertheless did one good thing. Four of them stayed around a hydro generating station. The other two obviously chose to carry on and maybe look for help. And it's just unfortunate that they didn't perish as a result of their stupidity. One thing we're always taught: if you get lost, stay put. Don't go out there. Make sure you've got water. Make sure you've got some means of communication. And more importantly, you've got a qualified person with you to show you through unfamiliar areas. That's the purpose of having a guide familiar with the area. In Australia, if such a thing happened, and tourists often get lost in the bush, and many outcomes are tragic. But for some who make that journey into the bush to discover nature, there's this drive in them to also be rather careless. But in Australia, if you call out search and rescue, and it's shown that you are being reckless, they'll send you the bill, and that can amount to many hundreds of thousands of dollars. I hope that the Philippines government sees it the same way. That is, that if you choose not to take a recognized and accredited tour guide, then really the onus is on you to pay for your own rescue. As much as you might not think so, why should others put their own lives at risk to save others who are stupid enough to get lost? The outcome, of course, in this case was fortunately a good outcome. Most of the guys were elderly, certainly not young spring chickens, and they should have known better. But life is full of stupidity, and stupidity can lead to tragedy. One just hopes that others who follow these guys don't make the same mistake. Make sure that they have the right advice, the right help and assistance that will enable them to enjoy the Philippine natural environment, but again, in a safe and orderly manner. You can hire a guide for a couple of thousand pesos, I'm sure. But what better way to find your way through unknown territory than with someone who knows it like the back of their hand? So it's a poignant message to those out there. It's okay to embrace nature to take the ultimate challenge of walking through it. I'm only just reminded of a few weeks ago, 2 Russians sadly lost their lives scuba diving here in the Philippines. Again, you'll have to check that one out, why and how it happened. But again, a tragedy that didn't probably need to happen if proper procedures had been followed. Accidents happen everywhere in the world, but we can alleviate the chances of it happening by just taking some simple steps. That's my thought for this afternoon. Catch you later. Bye now.